Hey guys, today I'm gonna be walking through 7 safety tips that I think are crucial if you wanna start traveling by yourself. Also stick around to the end because I'll be explaining my near mugging situation and how I got out of it. If you're new here, my name's Claire. I've been solo traveling the world for 20 months now. I've gone to a lot of countries, experienced a lot of things, and these are the top 7 safety tips that I can recommend to you to help keep you safe on your travels. Before I get started, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. I've got new videos coming out every single week. Okay, now let's get into it. Number 1 is gonna be for all of my budget solo travelers, which is to stay in hostels as opposed to Airbnbs. Hostels have such a bad name and for no good reason. I actually feel so much safer when I stay in hostels versus when I stay alone in an Airbnb. That's because in hostels nowadays, there's usually a lot of security, whether that be an actual security guard or keypads on the doors. And also you are just surrounded by so many like-minded travelers. People typically book hostels, 1, because they're cheap, 2, because they know that it's a great place to meet other travelers and to develop friendships. I found that in hostels, it's just a lot easier to meet people who are into the same activities you are, who want to go and explore the place that you're visiting. If you're staying in an Airbnb or you're in a hotel, it's just harder to find other solo travelers who are also wanting to make friendships quickly. As far as safety goes, I just always feel more comfortable if I have someone with me, if I'm going out one night, just having someone to walk with. And most of the time, it's just more fun to do activities with someone else. So that leads me to safety tip number 2, which is not to get drunk. I know, you're on vacation, you want to go out and party, experience the nightlife, and that's fine. However, drunk people are just quite a bit easier to take advantage of. There have been quite a few people who told me when they went out, someone nicked their phone, nicked their wallet. It's just you're setting yourself up to be an easy target. Still go out, have a few drinks, have some fun, but just make sure that your judgment does not get impaired. So let's go on to tip number 3. This one is to always have your bag in front of you where you can see it. So this is my purse here. I absolutely swear by this bag. This one is actually the Lululemon Festival bag, and it just works perfectly for travel. I highly recommend having a crossbody bag. That way, if someone's walking by you, they can't just take it off your shoulder. You want to always be able to see it in your peripheral vision. Wearing a backpack is not ideal because you can't see it behind you, and pickpocketers can be very sneaky. So again, just make sure that it's a bag that can stay in front of you, crossbody, and that also has some zippers. Now moving right along to safety tip number 4, which is to not be flashing any electronics or jewelry, especially when you're walking around on the streets. This one kind of goes without saying, but when you're a tourist exploring a new place, seeing all these amazing things, you get wrapped up in it and you forget about the safety aspect. So when I'm out exploring, I always have my phone in my purse and I only take it out when I'm actually going to be filming. I don't just carry it around in my hand. Also makes it very easy for someone just to walk by, swipe it out of your hand, and take off. Another thing about using your phone on the street, because I do this a lot, is looking at the maps. So again, with the maps, I do not have my phone out constantly looking at the map. I have it in the front pocket of my purse and only take it out to look every few minutes when I know there's a turn coming up. And tip number 5 kind of blends right into that last one because you have to just walk with confidence. A lot of time when we are in a new place, looking at maps, we're not really sure where we're going, it's very easy to tell that you are lost. Bystanders can be very perceptive of that. So make sure if you're following the directions on your phone, you have your phone in your bag and only take it out to look every few minutes when you know there's a turn coming up, and then to walk with confidence. Really just up straight, like you know where you're going, you know what you're doing. And just have in the back of your mind to be a little bit more aware of your surroundings. I think I take it a little too far and I'm too aware of my surroundings. Because of the situation that happened to me, I'm just much more on edge, and every time I pull out my phone, before I do it, I always kind of take a look back, look through my peripherals to see if there's anyone following close behind me. If there is, and there has been a few times that someone has been extremely close behind me while I've been walking, I just move off to the side, let them pass. I'll look at my phone while I'm stopped, put it back in my purse, and then continue on. So tip number 6 is to be quite neutral when you're walking on the street. Do not be overly nice to people walking by on the street. But before I get into this next tip, if you guys haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I've got videos coming out every single week that include tips and tricks for traveling, travel itineraries, and day in the life of a solo female traveler. Now, I've posted this tip on social media before, and I've gotten the responses like, when did it become not okay to be a nice person to everyone? And to that, I just have to say there's a little bit of logic involved. And it's all kind of dependent on the reason behind the conversation. If someone's trying to talk to you on the street simply because it's their job, like either they're street vendors and trying to sell you something, they're hosts of a restaurant trying to get you to come into their restaurant, people trying to sell you a taxi service or a tour, that group of people, absolutely give them a smile, be nice to them, try and make their day. They're just trying to do their job. Whereas just a regular bystander on the street, you don't owe them anything. I can feel when people passing me on the street are trying to make eye contact with me or make a comment to me from afar, and I just keep my posture, eyes forward, and keep walking. I don't even show any facial expressions. And unfortunately, not following this tip is actually what led to me almost getting mugged. So I'm sure you guys are wondering, Claire, what happened during your almost mugging? So this was actually at the beginning of my travels. I was walking home alone at like 5 p.m. so it wasn't dark, but it was kind of getting close to sunset. I was just walking on the street. Someone rode past me on the bicycle, was making direct eye contact with me. So I gave a little smile. I waved and said hello. And then about 3 minutes later, he rode by me again. And then about 3 minutes after that, he rode by again. And that started setting off the alarms in my head. So I pulled out my self-defense weapons, which is tip number 7. I'll get into it in a second, and just had them in my hands while I was walking. I had a pepper spray and an alarm. After that, I was on a part of the street that didn't have many buildings around, many people. It was kind of empty. And that's when I saw that guy coming again. This time he was crossing the street with his bike directly towards me. And then I look back, and one of his friends is coming with another bike from behind me. They get off their bikes, cornered me into a fence, and were just telling me to give them my bag. I immediately pulled the pin on my alarm, and it just made like a blaring alarm sound, which scared them because they weren't expecting me, I guess, to do anything. I held up the pepper spray, and that was enough for them to actually get spooked enough to get on their bikes and ride away. I, of course, then sprinted the rest of the way home. And that's the rest of my story. So for tip number 7, I'm gonna show you guys my self-defense tools that I carry with me literally 24/7. First, I have my pepper spray. This one you have to be careful with when traveling because there are some countries that consider this like a lethal weapon, and even if you use it in self-defense, you could get criminal charges for using this. Make sure you check the requirements of the country to be sure that you're not bringing something illegal into their country. And the last one, which is the most tame, is the alarm here. So this one, you can see I've done a little makeshift. This is the pin that you rip out, but I've done some tape around it just because I have this in my purse and I don't want the pin to accidentally fall out while it's in my purse and then just be making this blaring alarm sound wherever I am. However, I needed it to be easy access to pull the pin if I needed to. So with this tape, it's very easy to rip, but it just is strong enough to hold it in place where it doesn't fall out on its own. And one last bonus tip for you guys, because I just thought of this and it's actually very important, which is to share your location and share your itinerary. I share my location with everyone. Of course, my family, so that they always know where I am, but also some of the friends that I meet on my travels. Of course, don't give out your location to everyone that you meet on your travels. But if you have someone that you've met that you've become very close with and do a lot of activities with, I think it's very beneficial to share your location with them, mostly because if something were to happen, my parents can only do so much from being this far away from me. It gives me peace of mind knowing someone with me in the same place would have access to my location in case something were to happen. Also, for Apple users, make sure you add your family members to your family sharing because then they will actually be able to track your location even if your phone is turned off. So guys, thank you so much for watching. That is it for this video. If you have questions or comments about any of these safety tips, comment them below and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. And if you think that there's a very important safety tip that I forgot, also leave that in the comments below and maybe I'll make a safety tips video part 2. So that's it for this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so I can keep more content coming out to you guys. That's it guys, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.